Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Tevaron here, and welcome back to West of Loathing, where we are continuing to just explore our map. We're probably going to check out Shaggy Dog Cave right off the bat here, but first, we need to read this last wanted poster. Wanted, the Gherkin brothers. A gherkin is a pickle or something similar to a pickle, right? For brining kidnapping victims and attempted sale of human flesh for consumption? Last seen headed for the old abandoned pickle factory. Interesting. Can't let these dastardly criminals escape justice. It wouldn't be kosher. Would you like to go investigate? Yes, indeed. I can't resist a good pun. All right. So when are we going to get the ghost criminals? Is this who this is? Because that's the fifth stall there. Have we gotten any new people? No, we haven't. Oh, hello, person in a military hat. Anywho, let's head over to Shaggy Dog Cave, since it's the closest thing we have yet to explore. You spot a small cottage on the horizon with what looks like a work table in front of it. Silversmith's house. That sounds interesting, but we're going to keep going where we started out at. Ooh, forage. Thank you for the experience and the cactus beer. How's our experience looking? I think we spent some in the last episode. We did. We can spend a bit more. I'm wanting to get all my skills up to level 2. Let's go ahead and do first aid, bull stomp. So now it's doing 6 damage to every foe, and the next upgrade is 9. And we need this before we can start putting more experience into our stats again, which I think is a pretty good plan. You're, of course, welcome to disagree with me. Hello, piles of rocks. It's a little unusual to see you follow me in here. Boy, look at all these plaques on the walls. Think they're important? Probably not, but if you don't read them, you'll never know. Ugh. How many plaques are there? There's a plaque bolted to the cave wall here. Well, let's read it. A record of the events of the expedition to and into Shaggy Dog Cave, November 1887, as recorded by Jim Plackwright. Okay. So the plaques are telling the story of their expedition into this very cave. Read it. Having acquired through various and sundry means a story which is interesting in its own right, but better saved for another time, a map purporting to lead to a large cache of jewels and ingots of precious metals hidden by the infamous highwayman and train robber Black Cole Jr. In the years before the cows came home, I, Jim Plackwright, along with 3 compatriots, these being Nathaniel Wyman, Cyrus Howard, and Douglas Watts, set out to find Shaggy Dog Cave and the aforementioned treasure. You're very wordy, sir. Alright. Our equipment and provisions consisted of 1 cart and 1 horse to pull it, 4 additional horses to be ridden, 2 shovels, a spade, and a mining pick, a large coil of rope, 1 large basket of eggs, as well as an assortment of other trail provisions and cookware, my own collection of black plaques and engraving tools, 1 large and shaggy dog, and a butt for. Because what's a butt for? Poopin', silly. Ooh, what's this? Stalagmite? Can't interact with it. How many plaques are there? They're giving a lot of information we just don't need for the purposes of this story, honestly. After traveling for 2.5 days to the south and east, we arrived at a small town named Dirtwater, the largest settlement in the vicinity of Shaggy Dog Cave. Leaving the dog to watch the horses, the 4 of us entered the local saloon and each ordered a beer, except Cy, who was satisfied with water. Poor Cy. He doesn't know what he's missing. The barman provided our drinks as requested, then withdrew a small wooden box from underneath the bar, asking us if we care to witness something real interesting. Considering that we still had quite a few hours left to travel, we politely declined and asked him if he knew the way to Shaggy Dog Cave. He replied that he had never been there personally, but gave us rough directions which correlated nicely with the notes on our map. So the barkeep in Dirtwater has a box with something interesting in it. Upon leaving the saloon, we discovered to our dismay that some unknown villain had tampered with our wagon. Fortunately, the only supplies missing were the butt-for and an entire basket of eggs, apart from one that Doug had concealed within a pocket for safekeeping. Trying to hatch a bird, Doug? We also discovered that the dog had absconded with one of the horses, forcing Nate and Cy, after a drawing of lots, to share. Poor horse. Jesus, how many plaques are there? After acquiring a barrel of fresh water for the trip, as well as a replacement butt-for, and what's a butt-for? We headed out into the open desert. The sun shone down mercilessly upon us, though we took small solace in the fact that it would have been far more intolerable had we made this expedition during the summer months rather than November. In order to pass the time on the trip and resist becoming dazed from the heat and susceptible to desert mirages, we exchanged stories of our youth, which I will not be retelling here for reasons of length. Well, you certainly put enough stuff in here that's completely irrelevant to what we're being told about, so why not just tell everything that springs into your mind, fella? However, I will relate to you 3 odd occurrences that happened to us during our trek through the desert. The first was 2 or 3 hours out of Dirtwater when Nate noticed a glint of sunlight upon a metallic object partially buried in the sand. This was revealed to be a brass oil lamp of foreign design and manufacture, which fortuitously still contained a quantity of oil. Deciding this might come in handy, we stashed it in the wagon with our tools. Glory be! We got into it now, might as well finish, if there is indeed an end to all these plaques. Our next encounter was with a nomadic goblin tribesman who we discovered spoke excellent English. It inquired as to our destination, and we replied that we were looking for Shaggy Dog Cave. Though we did not disclose the reason for our journey, the goblin confirmed that we were heading on the correct course and mentioned that he had only a short time earlier witnessed a large and shaggy dog riding a horse in the same direction. We all agreed that this was an unusual sight indeed and continued on our way, so you didn't actually see the shaggy dog riding the horse. I'm not certain of the goblin's trustworthiness, but sometime later we encountered a large adobe hut occupied by 2 identical seeming old men with wild hair and long white beards. They invited us to take shelter from the heat, which we gratefully accepted, and introduced themselves as hermits. This struck me as peculiar given that there were 2 of them, but I felt it would be rude to question them on that point. Well, apparently they're twins since they look identical, so maybe that can fit into the definition of hermit? I don't know. One of the hermits confirmed that we were near Shaggy Dog Cave, and the other hermit confirmed what his brother said was true. They also commented that they had seen a large and shaggy dog riding a horse in that direction. If we don't get to see this fucking dog on a horse, I'm going to bust some heads. We all agreed that this was an unusual sight indeed. The hermits refreshed our water supply in exchange for our butt-for, and we continued on our way, excited to finally be nearing our goal. I certainly hope I'm nearing the end of your description of you nearing your goal. After 2 more hours, we finally arrived at Shaggy Dog Cave, carefully keeping our excitement in check, lest we become incautious. We unloaded our equipment and supplies from the wagon and took a brief respite in the cool shade of the cave entrance to celebrate our arrival. Doug unpocketed and shared the egg he had saved from our basket that had been stolen in Dirtwater. Once we were rested, we decided that the time had come to explore the cave, and that whole plaque is irrelevant to every fucking thing we've read so far. Jesus Christ, dude, you sure pad out your story, don't you? Discovering that we had neglected to pack torches, lanterns, or any other light source with which to illuminate the cave, except for the one that Ned found, which it just says here, he gave the brass a quick shine and lit the wick, and we were relieved to discover that it lit easily and provided a very adequate amount of light. As we headed into the cave, we were further encouraged by the fact that the floor was quite even and easy to traverse. There were no side passages which might cause us to become lost. Despite this, I resolved to hang a number of plaques to mark our progress through the cave. So your progress through the cave was as slow as mine, or slower, since you had to carve these out. And engrave them with the tale of our journey, such that others who discovered the cave after us might be entertained and edified by our story. I've received nothing from this entire experience that's edifying, except the information that the barkeep in Dirtwater may have something of interest to me. Soon we came to the end of the tunnel, while Nate, Cy, and Doug took turns with excavation. I completed the last of the aforementioned plaques. It was a matter of perhaps an hour before Cy's shovel struck a wooden surface with a hollow noise, and we hauled a traditionally styled treasure chest out of the hole with great excitement. Well, if you finished the plaques, then this should be the last one. Otherwise, you wouldn't have known that you had finished the plaques, right? Or have I discovered that you don't understand what you just claimed? Yes, I have. The chest was locked with an ancient and rusting iron padlock, which broke easily from a single swing of our pickaxe. We opened the lid slowly, and the flickering light of the antique oil lamp shone brilliantly upon jewels of every color and shining ingots of precious metals, just as promised by the legends of Black Coal Jr. Joyous at our triumph, we loaded the chest into our wagon and began the journey home. Thank you for reading, and may your own endeavors be equally successful. Signed, Jim Plackwright. I hate you, Jim. I hate you so much. Really? Really? Nothing else in here. At least we got our mug of cactus beer, I guess. But we do now know that the barkeep in Dirtwater has something going on. So let's head back there, and then we'll go to the silversmith's house. And I think that may be the first journey between two places that we haven't been interrupted in this game. See if he knows anything about that. Hey, Lloyd. I heard you had something interesting back there. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Maybe my info's too old. I found a note some travelers that passed through here about 8 years ago left. Oh, yeah, that was the previous bartender. He had a little trick he used to offer to show people. It's what got him fired eventually. The senator's wife wasn't amused. He rummages around under the bar for a minute, then blows the dust off a tiny piano about 9 inches tall. Here, you can keep the piano, as long as you don't ask me about the trick. A miniature piano. Thanks. It's a miniature piano. It'd be the right size for a foot-tall tickler of the ivories, but the winding key on the side seems to indicate that it plays itself. Turn it on. You wind up the crank, and the piano starts tinkling merrily. So merry, so tinkly. Alright. Turn it off. I guess that's just a little non sequitur or whatever. We never talked to him again after we got the information from the barkeep about him, did we? Will he tell us anything? No, poor old Ellsbury. Still can't talk to him. We fixed the piano player. Okay, well, that's all we can do here then. Let's go visit this silversmith's house. See what's going up with that. The sign says, Silver Bullet Making Apparatus. Help yourself. Help yourself. The workbench has a little burner and crucible for melting silver things and some bullet molds. It seems pretty straightforward. There's also a vise, so you could smash silver bullets into needles if you wanted to. Really? I would like to make needles. Guess they're made from a silver bullet. 2 needles from a bullet. Yes, thank you very much. I'll take 4 needles. We can make another bullet and then make some more needles. Make 3 bullets from cufflinks. Let's do that. Make another silver bullet. And I think I'm going to make 2 more sets of needles. We'll just keep 2 bullets, too, in case we need them. All right, got 10 needles now. That is a good haul. Silver bullets, cool and smooth as a mountain stream, propelled by gunpowder through the flesh of your enemies. So this will help against cows and undead if we run into any that are too powerful for us to handle normally. Ooh, we can harvest. 10 experience, a floral ring. Why was there a ring in the cactus? Makes foraging random encounters much more likely. Am I willing to replace my +6 muscle with that? Let's try it for a bit. I like the +6 muscle, but I would also like some more experience from foraging, so let's see how that works. I guess that's random encounters we get on the main map. Is the silversmith around here? Pick the lock. Huh, nobody here. Ooh, a spittoon. At least it looks like a spittoon, but it's next to the bed. It might actually be a bedpan. We don't care. Investigate it. What, really? I mean, if it's just a spittoon, that's bad enough, but it might be a bedpan, and that would be way worse. You don't understand. We have a strange obsession. We can't help but investigate these things. I feel like maybe you aren't getting what I'm saying. We're talking about an object that someone probably uses when they wake up in the middle of the night and can't be bothered to walk to the outhouse. And the best you can hope for is maybe they only use it to spit nighttime tobacco juice into, in which case it's only full of rancid, congealing tobacco spit. Listen, I'm investigating it. You're not going to dissuade me. Are you even listening to me? Or are you just sort of skimming past the text? Bedpan. Look, I'm pretty sure there's treasures in there, and you aren't stopping me. Bedpan. Shut up. I'm investigating. Okay, fine. Have it your own way. Your own filthy, disgusting way. I will. Thank you. It turns out to probably not be a bedpan, but it is definitely a spittoon, and it is definitely filled with rotting brown spit. Well, fish around in it. We've come this far. What is wrong with you? Bite me. Oh, good God. Okay. You plunge your hand in up to the wrist. It makes a sound and breaks the thin skin of the congealing toxins that was previously keeping the dire smell in relative check. Now you are choking in a miasma of oily, bitter chaw stink. You know that feeling when you get when you're about to puke? How you get that taste way back in the rear corners of your mouth, that metallic tang by the root of your tongue like you're sucking on an old corroded penny? Just tell me what I found already. You found a filthy, slime-covered old brooch. Are you happy? I'm ecstatic, honestly. I bet you're going to put it on without even washing it first. Revolting brooch. Maybe I will. So there. Don't you judge me. What is it? This brooch would be much smaller if it weren't for the thick layer of tarnish and dried tobacco spit. Lapel, 2 muscle, 2 mysticality, 2 moxie. Let's see, lapel is here. That's just a straight up upgrade. Sweet. Thank you very much, Spittoon. You are one of the most helpful things in the whole game, you Spittoons and your brethren. A twin bed. The silversmith must have been a bachelor, or a half-width guy, with a half-width spouse. Or maybe the silversmith is a lady. You know, ladies can be silversmiths too. The bookshelf contains like 90 copies of Johnny Tremaine. There's something weird about it though. It's too neatly organized, like maybe the guy was hiding something. Yes, Moxie, search for secrets. Especially if they are skill book secrets. Tucked behind one of the books, you find a small envelope with receipts. About half of them are from a shop called the Silver Platter. He was crooked. The silversmith was selling cheap fakes. Oh well, he's gone now, and so are most of his customers. No sense in stirring up trouble at this point. You write down the location of the shop, might come in handy. You discovered a new map location, the Silver Platter. Well, let's hit the road. This shelf looks pretty picked over. Search it. Got instant grits and plum pudding. Those are new, right? Okay, so boosts our main stats by 1 for the day. Or muscle by 3. Cool. You don't even need to add water. Hilarious. Especially if you just want to break your teeth. Ooh, a safe. Safe Kraken 3? There's a note on the safe reading, I forgot the darned combination to this confounded thing. If you can open it, you're welcome to what's in it. Looks like it's a tricky one. We got Safe Kraken 2, right? We do. We need 100 experience for Safe Kraken 3. Well, I wanted to upgrade this one to 2, but looks like Safe Kraken may be our next experience spend. Let's see if we can get some of that stuff. We're real close to being there. See, where did that new place get added? The Silver Platter, way up here. See, we got quests at Aldad and at the Pickle Factory, I think. Well, the Pickle Factory for sure. I think we got A quest at Fort Aldad? Let's try there first, because I'm interested in experience more than anything else. A loud thwack noise draws your attention, and you follow the sound to a man in a once-white apron who is butchering a bighorn sheep or some other large desert animal with an oversized and heavy-looking meat cleaver. As he's hauling the implement up onto his shoulder for another blow, he catches sight of you and hisses with a wild look in his eye. "Who's there? Don't test me, boy. I'll chop you up like this goat or whatever it is." Yikes. Test him? Fight? Aw, we don't have Intimidating 3. Damn it. Oh well, it's experience, right? Ouch. Let's hit him with the old 1, 2, 3. That should do the job. More than does the job. Absolutely. The Blackwoods Butcher, I think it said, or Backwoods. You won specifically. You won a huge slab of a cleaver and all the meat you can carry, which isn't all that much once you factor in the weight of the cleaver. 22 experience and a bloodied cleaver. I think that may be enough to get us to 100, or fairly close to it. Let's see. What's this cleaver, though? +3 muscle. Damage 8 to 10. The Intimidating Cleaver will ward off your enemies from now until June. Does that mean if I equip it, I'll get fewer encounters? Let's see. Yeah, St. Beefus's thigh is better. Unfortunately. Well, we'll stick with it. It's also kind of funny looking when we're fighting, so that's good. Let's see, can we pet Shadow again? Or, nope. Got to brush his mane the first time, I think. Oh, hello. You got something to say? Holy goddamn. Yeah, this is a little intense. We have to do something about this immediately. Any ideas? Well, only way I can think to get rid of all these things all at once would be to poison them somehow. That isn't very doctorly. I don't think you can actually poison skeletons, right? What, you never heard of a vaccination? Look, would you rather fight an army of skeletons all at once or find a way to slip something into their food supply nice and quiet like? It's a good point. So we need to poison these buggers? Doesn't seem to, at least they don't seem to notice us. Can not do anything with that, just a nice view. A strategy privy? No force in the universe that can get this tarp off this crate. It's a map of the region. Can we update our own map from it? Table has a little model of the region. Hello, toilets. These toilets are all very clean. Flush it? Okay, just get ourselves... Oh, we got 2 from that one. Oh, it doesn't have a flusher. You grab the contents of the toilet. Skeleton spore? These toilets are very... Flush this one. 3 experience, so we get increasing experience from the toilets? Strange. This isn't as gross as you'd think. It's basically just dust. What's it for, though? Okay, strategy and privy combined. These crates are just decorative. The barracks and the mess hall combined. Ooh. Very glad I've got all these needles. Field trauma kit, full canteen, and military-grade whiskey. Oh, we already had some of that, didn't we? Well, that's not much better than regular whiskey, I suppose. Trauma kits may come in useful eventually. This one wasn't even locked. Hardtack? Well, we've eaten some of that, right? Yes, we have. Pick the lock. More field trauma, a chemical bullet, and an artillery saber? What's the artillery saber? +6 pistol damage and 7 to 9. The army, in its infinite wisdom, apparently decided that every soldier needed a sword, even the ones who were only good at using guns. So it's a gun blade. Welcome to Final Fantasy VIII, apparently. Chemical bullet. In addition to lead, this bullet is made with a substance that is highly poisonous when it gets into your blood. This item is used in combat, poisons an enemy. Can we put it in their food supply like Alice wanted to? Ooh, more needles. Awesome. So they supplied us with enough needles in this room to pick all the locks. That's cool. More skeleton parts. There's got to be a use for those eventually, right? Ooh, stores. Shelves laden with the skeleton army's food supply. Examine it. We contain it with waste too. Well, let's look at it first. You pick up a can at random and read the label. Brandied termites and oil. Revolting. Look at something else. Brandied mold a la mode. Disgusting. Do we get something if we look at enough of these things? Apparently it's all revolting. Okay, apparently not. Let's taint the food with the waste. You sprinkle the waste all over the food. If this works, by tomorrow they should all be no more. Well, we'll see, won't we? Guess we should probably go back and go to bed eventually here. Maybe that actually advances things. Okay, so we can just look at more stuff that way. Alright, so I guess we pulled off what Alice wanted. Cannons. Can't interact with them. Can't live without them. Trash can smells terrible. Dig through it. No way, not without some stench resistance. Ooh, we got that. Let's see. It was the lapel item. No, it was our offhand item, wasn't it? Sweet smelling flowers. For the moment, we'll get rid of the porcelain cow. There we go, dig through it. Oh, good. A disgusting old hat. Old patrol cap. +3 pistol attack damage. Well, that's not as good as our Stetson, at least not for us. So let's replace our offhand item back with our porcelain cow. Now that we've used our stench resistance. Another ritual circle. So the necromancers have definitely been here. Somebody left their knapsack behind. You dig through the knapsack, find a mostly burned scroll. It's also an there's also an evil-looking leather-bound tome. Introductory Nex Mex. Oh my god, that's hilarious. The last thing is a little diary, which you decide to leave in there in case the owner comes back looking for it. Well, let's at least read it. It seems to have been written by one of the necromancer's cultists. He and several others were reanimating the dead soldiers here on the theory that the best undead army would be a literal undead army. The hitch in the plan came when they raised the officers, who decided they weren't going to take orders from a bunch of weirdo civilians. The last entry suggests that the author and his cohorts were planning on abandoning their station and reporting back to the necromancer, but the entry ends abruptly in the middle of a sentence. Fascinating. What is... Well, let's start with this book. This black-covered book, written in black ink on black paper, is a primer in the arts of southwestern necromancy, otherwise known as Nex Mex. So we can learn Grinning Skull, or Grinnin' Skull, with the apostrophe there. I'm not sure I want to do that. We're fighting necromancy, not partaking in it, right? Burned Skull. This burned scroll has mostly been burned beyond legibility, but you can just barely make out something about Hellcow energy in between the scorch marks. The scroll is in bad shape, and you can't really make out anything new, but you're convinced that this must be another clue to the whereabouts of the necromancer. You stick it into your journal. So what's the update? See, west of the mountains. Can't interpret it. You found a cryptic note about Hellcow energy. The necromancer's lair must be somewhere near a powerful source of it, but you don't know where such a source is. Rats. It's everything we've got so far. I mean, it's enough to be getting on with, right? No name, no name, no name. Ooh, harvest. Yes. A patch of pepperoni mold? I like pepperoni. You carefully slice up the pepperoni mold and place it on a pizza crust. You got a tombstone pizza. Awesome. Where'd we get the pizza crust from, though? Muscle by 5. Awesome. I'll take that. This mass grave is absolutely teeming with those skeletal riflemen. They don't seem to be interested in getting out, but you could definitely jump in there if you were itching for a fight. There's one wandering in the end of the pit nearest you. Yes, please? Hey, you're not supposed to get the first attack. And you won't get the second one, that's for sure. We can just demolish these things. Well, that's definitely enough to raise our safe kraken, right? Yes, it is. Sweet. Now we can open that safe. Wonder after we poison that thing if these guys will still be here when we come back. Well, I'm going to fight a few of these and get Alice a little more powered up, get ourselves some more experience. Alright, so these guys are getting to the point that I can't keep battling anymore, but we did get one increase in power for Alice, which upped her scatter shot by 11, which is awesome, and her heal to 30. But in these situations, her saw is the most useful, which it's not going to matter. That guy's at 1 HP. Sweet. Let's see. How much experience did we rack up? 241, that's awesome. Let's level up the old 1, 2, 3 there, and that's got us, and that gets us up to at least 2 in all our skills. Let's put some stuff up here. We can get 2 level ups. Let's go with muscle. And let's get our mysticality up by 1. That'll at least even these out, which our stuff's going to go away when we sleep, I think, from our eating and drinking and so on and so forth. So maybe we want some more capacity in some of these things. Let's up our grit and get some more hit points. There we go. We got enough that we can do another one too. So, let's up our gumption. Nice. I think we're going to concentrate on these unless we need a skill up to pass a check until we get to the point that they're costing 100 experience. But for now, let's head back to the silversmith's house and open that safe. Shadow notices a camp of bandits before you do and dives behind a large creosote bush before they spot you. Rob them as they would rob you, or vigilante them in cold blood. Of course that's what we'll do. What made you think otherwise? You creep up behind the bandits and pummel, shoot, and or magic them to death before they even get a chance to react. Got a black hat. Heck yeah. Check that thing out. +1 armor. No thank you. I think we might have had one of those before. Maybe I'm wrong. Just another hat with sort of the same thing going on. Crack the safe. Silver nuggets. Awesome. Sweet. I'm going to make some more bullets and needles, because that's what those are for. But I think I'll take care of that between episodes. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, let me know in the comments and by leaving a like below. And of course, subscribe if you'd like to see more in the future. I have been Tevaron, and until next time, friends, be excellent to each other.